Picture this. I'm out on an oil rig in the middle of nowhere ocean, grinding through 14-hour shifts in blistering heat, socking away every penny for the day I could finally retire on the 200 acres of Montana grassland my grandfather bought back in 1948 with his copper mine savings, the only real piece of wealth my family ever held on to. 2 years later, I fly home, rent a truck, roll down the windows, feeling like I could finally breathe again, and there are 98 brand new houses sitting on my land. Street lamps, stone pillars, a fancy iron arch screaming, rigorous estates, private property, rows of identical beige McMansions with perfect lawns. The HOA president screeches up in her white Lexus, platinum bob, fake tan, teeth glowing like high beams, smiles that poisonous, sweet, condescending smile, and tells me I'm trespassing on her development. Even slaps me with a $300 fine for walking on what she insists is now her turf. She had no clue that buried in my grandfather Mercer's original 1948 deed, 17 simple, old-fashioned words, was a reverter clause so ironclad it made every single house they built completely illegal the moment the first foundation was poured. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just turned the truck around, drove into Billings, and started pulling records. Turns out the county had foreclosed because tax bills were mailed to a completely mangled address. Someone transposed digits on purpose. The auction buyer? Rigorous Development, LLC, run by the HOA president's husband Garrett, tipped off by the county commissioner's wife who just happened to be the buyer's agent. Construction permits filed 6 weeks before the auction even happened. They knew. They built anyway. But here's where the real fun starts. Montana law gives a redemption period, 24 months to reclaim by paying back taxes, penalties, interest. I still had time. I scraped together every dollar I'd saved over 25 years, hired a grizzled lawyer named Leo who worked above a pawn shop, and filed to redeem. Then the smear campaign kicked off. My photo plastered everywhere, labeled land grabber, death threats, flyers on windshields, the HOA website blasting me as a monster trying to steal 98 families' homes. The homeowners were victims too. A nurse named Shauna slipped me evidence that Priscilla had been embezzling HOA dues. $180,000 funneled through a shell company to her husband's accounts. Fake landscaping bills, spa trips disguised as administrative costs. Depositions cracked them open. Phone records, emails showing they hunted for vulnerable foreclosures, admissions they bent rules because the land was wasted on an old hermit. Then Ingrid, Leo's paralegal, dug deeper into the 1948 deed and found the golden nugget, that 17-word reverter clause. Said land shall revert to Reeves' family heirs if ever used for residential subdivision without written consent of Grant's descendants. Automatic. No court needed to trigger it. The second they started building houses without my permission, titles snapped back to me like a steel trap. They've been trespassing on my property for over a year. Their cheap title insurance? Excluded reverter clauses in the fine print. Zero coverage. We filed the quiet title action. Priscilla showed up at my motel crying, begging for mercy. We put everything into this, we'll be bankrupt. I reminded her of the lies, the embezzlement, the threats. She left a handwritten last warning note on my windshield. That went straight to the prosecutor. The community turned. Homeowners live-streamed Priscilla's meltdown at an emergency HOA meeting where she snapped and admitted they bent a few rules to make something out of nothing. Viral video. County Planning Board chaos. FBI got involved because they misused federal PPP loans. Press conference in Helena. Charges filed. Wire fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy, witness intimidation. Garrett facing 40 years, Priscilla 15. In the end, the court confirmed I owned every inch. But I didn't evict anyone. Instead, I set up the Mercer Reeves Community Land Trust. All 98 families got 30-year ground leases at $300 a month, way below market. We preserved 40 acres as a park with trails and wetlands, installed community solar cutting power bills at 30%, funded scholarships for rural kids, started Mercer Fest every August with barbecue and live music. The surplus from leases keeps it all going. The Van Dorns? Garrett pleaded guilty, got 12 years and millions in restitution. Priscilla got 4, banned from HOA boards forever. The commissioner's wife lost her license. I built a small off-grid cabin on the edge of the preserved land, the kind my grandfather always dreamed of. I consult for other land trusts now, help people fight their own HOA nightmares. And every time I walk that grassland, smell the sage after rain, hear the wind, I think about Mercer teaching me knots in the barn, and I know it was worth every brutal shift on that rig. So if you're dealing with your own HOA tyrant, document everything. Know your rights, find allies, don't back down. Bullies count on you quitting. Don't give them the satisfaction. That's my story. Fight smart. Fight hard. Sometimes the little guy doesn't just win. He gets the whole damn development back.